Good morning, everybody. This is Jeremiah with Land Effects. And we've got a really cool little webinar lined up for you today to really get you going with planting, really show off what is so incredibly groundbreaking about our good old little Land Effects, originally developed in the late 90s. So you're going to see the products of some, 15 plus years of evolution of steady attention to detail. I want to remind everybody that you got a little question box. You are welcome to type in your questions here, and I'll be sure to type you an answer right away and then get those over to Andrew, and we'll answer as many questions as we can on the air here. Without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Andrew Spearing, and he's going to run you through getting going with Land Effects.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Yes? All right, sounds good.
Sorry, yes.
All right,
You're good.
all right, so just give you a little background of who I am. My name's Andrew Spearing. I joined the team here at Land Effects a few months ago as the marketing director. I practiced, worked in a number of landscape architecture firms in the Bay Area for the last 9 years before I joined the team here at Land Effects, and was a user before I worked here. So I'm really excited to present to you today. Let me actually bring my control over here. Hi, my name's Andrew. I also started this social network called Land 8. You might be familiar with that. I studied horticulture at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, so I have a background in plants before I got into landscape design. And today, I just want to let you know why we are here. First off, we're here to make your workflow more efficient so you can spend less time documenting and more time designing. And you can fill in the blank there. More time designing, more time creating, more time learning, more time growing, more time making the world a better place. Because that's really what landscape architecture is about, creating space for people, memorable spaces for people. So today we're going to be getting you going on planting. So first I'm going to start off with a quick overview, show you some of the toolbars, where you can get help, and also how to submit a ticket, because we know that getting started in learning a new software can sometimes be overwhelming. That's why we're having this presentation today, but we also provide a lot of resources, and we want to let you know that we're here for you to help you along the way and get you up and running. So I'll be going over how to start a new project, how to set your scale, developing your plant palette with the Land Effects Plant Manager, and then some really basic things of placing plants, our SketchUp Connection, and then finally labeling, scheduling, and then some of the really, really cool verification and editing tools that we have available. And if we have time, I'd love to show you some resources that I think are really helpful just in your own, just learning more about planting design in general. So let's jump right into it. Just want to let you know, okay, just the resources here, you can go to landeffects.com /help. And then we also have some power tips that we're doing that you can find at landeffects.com /power tips. So let me bring my AutoCAD window over here. Get you guys going here. I need to fit this to the window. All right, cool. So here we are in FXCAD, and we have our Land Effects menus up here. So first off, I want to show you two things. At the bottom of every pull-down menu, there's a help button. If you're ever in trouble, you can click that help button, and it will take you to our documentation section of the website. And this is really important because we are actually currently updating all of this information, so it is a better resource for you to find the answers you're looking for online. So if you are wanting to know how to, if you forget how to label plants, for example, you can go to the planting section, and you have a list of articles, one labeling plants. You could also use this toolbar to type in planting, for example, and this is actually powered by Google, and it searches our website for all the content on there. So you can use that search bar to type in a question and find the answers online. Also, if you have a technical issue, if something's not working, we have built in a technical support button here found under the FX admin. So definitely take advantage of this if you find a bug or something crashes or if some feature isn't working correctly or how it should as it's laid out in the documentation. Feel free to hit the technical support button and it will walk you through a few steps to zip up your file and shoot us an email. So those are a couple of resources that you can, and here's the interface that will, you can submit that ticket to us. All right, so let's jump right in. As I said, we're going to go over the overview here, and just showing you the FX planting menu. We have the project plant manager. I'm going to actually pull up this toolbar here real quick. Yes, bring this over here. All right, so you see I placed a couple of plants here, and I did that through the project plant manager. But before we go there, we want to start a project. So we have project files. I have one selected here. If you don't have a project already, you want to click New, type in a project number, whatever your office standard is, and we'll just call this Planting Basics. If you do want to create a template, you can do that if there's a standard that you want to follow, and it makes setting up a new project even quicker. So if you have a plant palette that is standard to your office, you can create one. And I'm not actually going to go over that today, but that is definitely available. So clicking OK, it's going to bring up the project manager. Has your project number, your project name, and you can give this project a description if you wanted. This is where your sheet index is, and you're creating a list of sheet sets. So for example, we could set up L1 series for your layout, L2 for your grading and drainage, and L3 for planting. But we're going to be focusing on this section today, so planting. So this is the very basic starting point for setting up your plant palette, and it's broken up into trees, shrubs, shrub areas, and ground covers. So for example, if you wanted to place a tree, this is where you're going to be generating all of your, or developing your plant palette before you start designing anything. To place a new tree, click New, and you can search either by, usually it's just the first three of the genus. So I'm going to look for an Acer, and it's going to bring up all the species that are in our database. And this is actually a live wiki. So if there was a plant that isn't here, you could add it, add a new plant to our wiki, and it's available to every one of our users. And so this is a really powerful tool, and we're thinking about ways of even bringing this feature online so that you can use it as an online resource as well as in the software. So let's just go to Acer. Let's just go to Acer palmatum. I like the Sengu Kaku, so let's go down to find that variety there. And once it's selected, then you click Add to Project, and you'll see just a confirmation here that it was added. If you want to continue to add more plants, you can definitely do that. Let's go with, you can type in the full name, Quercus, or just the first three, and it'll bring up Quercus. And we all like the Agrafolia here in California. And there's a couple of different options here. One's multi-trunk, the other is just normal, and you can add that to the project. And again, it's confirmed here. So now I'm actually going to switch over to a project that I already set up for this demonstration. So I'm going to go to the project files again, and I had it set up in tutorial 1, I believe. And I'm just going to click open. So now I have tutorial 1 here. You'll see that there's already a sheet and a whole list of plants that are that have been developed here. And again, they're broken out into shrubs, some shrub areas, and ground covers. And I'm going to jump right into showing you how to place those. You'll see that I'm going to exit out of this. You'll see that I actually went ahead and placed a few of the plants already. And so moving along into the overview of the toolbars, I'll show you quickly how that plays out. But I'm going to show you first how to place a plant. So I'll actually edit this. Just delete these guys real quick. So we have our Acer, and so we in the list. Before we place it, we want to click the edit button here, and it has the name, it has all of the plant info, the 3-letter code. If you wanted to change that to something different, you could have the option to do that, as well as the group. Now you have it in trees. Now maybe you want to organize this in its trees, and it's more of an accent plant. So you could add a category here for accent plant and put it in that section. If you have any remarks, say if you wanted this to be a low branching or multi-trunk or multi-stem, then you can add that here. That will show up in the legend, and we'll get that to that later on in this presentation. If you do have a, this is really important, this is actually underutilized and powerful feature that Land Effects has is the cost and the cost estimation. And if you do have a general cost that you could place on this particular plant at a 24-inch box size, then you can put a cost in here, and that definitely will help you stay in budget and help you track costs as you continue to move through the project there. So you also have a list of gallon sizes. We'll just go 24-inch box here. If you want a particular caliper size, then you can set it here. And then there's all these user fields. So if you, for example, you're in California and you have a project that you're working on that they're requiring the wool calls, then you can add that in here, and you can set a wool calls rating to that plant. So that it is generated in your legend, and you can submit that to planning as needed. All right, so I don't know why that showed up. So we have a symbol. This is how large it's going to show up in the drawing, and that's actually pretty big. So I just want to make it 15 feet wide, and we have a list of symbols here. Listed by very simple, basic symbols. Evergreen. This is deciduous, as we do know, so I'm going to actually change it to that guy. I think that's pretty cool. And if there were other trees, other acers that were placed already in the drawing, I could actually apply that change to all of them. So it's a global. It would be a global change, and I'll show you how that happens in a minute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and place that plant. And let's say we just want it in each one of these little sections here. It's just as easy as adding that. Just regular AutoCAD, right? And that's not that big of a deal, right? You have a tree and you placed it. But we have these tools over here. And when I first started learning Land Effects, I was doing planting plans, and it was taking me hours to label. It was taking me hours to make sure all of my plants were labeled. It was taking me hours to generate schedules. And even using the array command, I was moving quite fast. However, with these little options here, this is where you can gain a lot of speed in using Land Effects. So for example, I'm going to let's just take this set of shrubs that I laid out here. So I'm going to take this. This is actually hebe. You know what? This is a great place to show you the view edit plant. So I actually forgot what that symbol was. So I'm going to click the view edit button and select the plant, and it's actually bringing up all the plant info for us. So that's really cool. And say that I wanted to. This is a shrub. That's great. So I'm going to change the size to, it's like, maybe let's just change it to 3, and this is feet. And that symbol isn't doing it for me, so I'm going to change it to just another circle. the edges were bugging me. And again, it's apply to all, and I'm gonna hit OK. Okay, so cool. That actually changed right there. So I'm gonna move that over just a tad, and I'm gonna use the copy along an arc. And again, this is another option. So if we want to change the spacing or keep it at the size of the symbol, then that's cool. You can do best fit or exact. So for example, I'll show you how the two options here work in a second. But the best fit, I'm going to choose that one for this arc. And I'm gonna kind of estimate where this center point is. Just kind of go there. And perfect. We just laid out how many. All right, let's do a group label here. There we go. So I'm gonna put my label on that plant. I use the group label option, and I'm just gonna draw a window around all that. What it did is it selected only that block, only that plant out of the entire window, because I selected that one first, and it actually gave me a quantity, the gallon size, and the code. So that label's pretty quick. Cool. So now I want to move this guy, and again, we want to figure out what that plant is, and that is Carex. Who loves Berkeley sedge around here? I am a big fan. 2 feet, that seems all right. Are you guys cool with that symbol? Maybe we want to change that symbol. Let's go to small, maybe a tropical. No, those aren't really doing it for me. Fine, no. Let's use one of these. Let's use this guy right here. All right, cool. One, let me change that. All right, cool. Let's do that. And now we have a couple other options under this copy along a line. So say I want to line the border of this patio with the Carex. Again, we have the spacing options. We also have best fit and exact. I'm going to go with exact this time. And so what this does is it puts the shrubs or the Carex exactly 2 feet apart. So there, I'm going to hit spacebar to reactivate that command. Again, it's exact. Hit the spacebar to reactivate that. And now I just lined this patio, and I'm going to leave this open because I want some ground cover in here, maybe some other accent plants. So you see how quickly it is, how quickly we can lay out plants in a garden bed, and we can fill in these with some buffer plants, and now we want to maybe add a ground cover. So let's go up to Planting, Plant Manager, and we go to our ground covers. And for a lack of a better plant, we're going to choose Coprosma. And I want to just verify what symbol that is in the spacing. So I hit Edit. And maybe I want to, let's change that plant. Let's actually change it to, do you guys have a suggestion for a plant? Just curious.
I don't see any. I'm horrible with plants, so don't ask me. I remember I liked.
I was actually asking the audience if they would want to participate. How about let's go with a little.
I had one that I always liked. It was a Siberian strawberry because the code for it was Walter. But anyway.
So no suggestions from the audience?
No, I don't see any.
All right, so let's just go with the Kelia. Let's go with Moonshine. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to the project. This is going to be That's going to be a little bit of a stretch, so let's just go 24 inches. And again, let's go with this crosshatch. And if I were going to make a global change, I was select apply to all. I'm going to hit OK. Now, the placing of ground covers, we have this. I'm going to select that object. What's going on here? I'm going to try that again. All right, cool. That's how it should be. We have a couple of options down here. So if we have multiple polylines, we can select M, and we have this powerful new feature called Exclude Shrubs. You can find that in the power tips at landeffects.com/power tips. But what you do is you type in E, and when selecting the polyline for your ground cover, what it's going to do is automatically going to exclude all of these shrubs in here. So just click that boundary, and voila. So you no longer have to draw circles around your shrubs in order to eliminate the hatch bound or the ground cover hatches. It does that automatically for you now. So moving along the toolbar here, I want to start labeling some of these plants. So we have the group label, which I just showed you, and what that does. Say, for example, I want to generate a call out for all of these carex here. Select the shrub or the plant that you would like to label from, and then you draw a window around that area, and it only selects that block, and you can drag that label wherever you'd like it. And so we know that there's 31 carex at 5 gallon. If you wanted to change that plant, for example, say you want to make it 1 gallon, that label automatically updates. All right, so let's go to another. You know what? I'm going to actually change. This plant is kind of hanging out over there all by itself. I'm going to show you this match properties, which is a really powerful feature as well. So if you click on match properties, I want to change this plant over here, which is a Fatsia. I want to change it to the bird of paradise. So I'm going to select the source plant, and you can always follow. If you get lost in the command, you can always look down here in the command line, and then I'm going to select the destination object. So that's the one I wanted to change. Let me show you that again. So match properties, you start with a plant you want to, your source plant, and then you click on the plant that you want to change, right? All right, so there that is. And then we have another label here, and that's where I wanted to go next. And this is just a simple, basic label. And say I want to label that one as well, you have an option down here for arc. So you click A, or you type A, and you select just kind of a midpoint for the arc. And right click, and there's your label. All right, so there is a very basic overview of, you know what, I didn't show you, I showed you the arc, connecting arc line for the plant label through the connecting line, but the same thing would happen with the arc here. So if you're joining these with an arc, you can easily do that, and I selected the 4 there. All right, so let's place a couple more trees just to reinforce that a little bit. I'm going to place the Agrafolia. I'm going to double check the symbol and the width. Let's go with 24, and let's bump this up to 36. It's grouped in trees, and again, if you wanted to group this as say like specimen trees, if you have this along with some other ornamental or very, very specimen trees, you can type a new category or group in here. 36-inch box, I'm good with that, don't need that checked. So I'm going to go ahead and place that. Let's place that right here. Let's put that beautiful specimen right there. All right. So before I jump over to some of the other features, and I'm going to actually bring up another plan here in a second. I'm going to show you how to place a. Hey, Jared, could you mute your mic?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. Go ahead and show you how to place the turf. Did that kind of quick, sorry. Go to ground covers, hit turf, sod. Again, you can see all the information here. We're going to do that sod, and this is a gradient hatch pattern here, which is pretty cool. So how that works is simple. Select the polyline, and you see that I actually had a set of, I've already done this command, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those and rerun that. Placing, and you just click in the black space, and all of a sudden it creates this really beautiful kind of gradient lawn pattern. And to label that, you would use a single plant label. You'd use it the same way as you would use it just for calling out a specimen tree. And you would do it the same way. I'm going to hit F8 to hold that in place. And so it brings up the square feet, this turf sod, and you can actually do that anywhere in this hatch pattern, and it will bring up that for you. All right, so let me actually jump over to, do you have any questions at this point in time? This might be a good time to.
There's a few questions here, and let's see. For instance, editing the fields, the user fields for shrubs. We have a question on how to, if those fields need to be in the same order as they are for trees and for shrubs, and that's generally a good idea. We had someone else mention they're not seeing the toolbars that you have. The easy fix for that is from the FX planting menu. You can click on label plants, which will at least turn on that toolbar. And then from that toolbar, you can easily right click on it to turn on the others. Sometimes your toolbars will just simply be turned off, but that's a quick one to do that without having to use your AutoCAD CUI interface or anything to try to get to turn those toolbars on. Another question was how to create a planting template. And a template is just any project that's saved as a template. So first you just create a plant palette, as Andrew's doing, and then can save that as a template. Let's see here. Also, a couple people wanted to see you apply that stipple pattern again. They want to watch that again.
Cool. Let's do that one more time, and then I'm going to jump over to another plan where we can start generating some. We can do some verification, some editing, generate some more of our labels and plant schedules. So let's do that. Before I do, I will show that plant stipple one more, or the shrub. Let me say that one more time. The lawn stipple one more time. So if I have a lawn area, so you just start with the polyline, and it can be on any layer because Land Effects will change that for you once you place the. And I'm gonna go kind of quick here. Oops. What's going on here? There we go. And I will clean this up in a second. Be very rough with this. All right, so that's kind of weird, right? That's just some. I don't get too finicky because I know I can grab these and massage them later. All right, so we have our polyline here, and if we want to turn that to or add the lawn stipple to that, go to our project plant manager, make sure that we're on ground covers, go to turf sod, and I'm just going to show you where that is living. So we have a number of other like heavy sand, light sand patterns that you could use that would not give the gradient. So what you'd want to make sure that you have is the, which I am not seeing now. I'm just going to cancel out of that. Just cancel that. Make sure the gradient is still there. Click OK. That is selected. You click place, and now you're going to start on the outside polyline, and you just start clicking into towards the center. That's just a series of left clicks depending on how you have the. It looks like we got a little tiny guy right in there, and that gives you the gradient. You guys want to see that again? I think we can. I think we can move on. Actually, let me show you the plant photo callout real quick. So we have the specimen tree, and we want to create associate an image with it. Okay. So first, we have the plant callout, plant photo callout button here. Select that, and then the tree or shrub that you want to show. It's going to bring up Google Images. We can search for an image. We don't want that one because it's pretty gross and haggard. And this one's kind of out of context, so maybe that one's nice. And it's even from Cal Poly, that's cool. So we select that, and we click on this View Image button. And what that does is it brings up the photo location, and then also the caption. So we want to give a name to it, and then we can also add a drop shadow if we want. Click OK. And so now we have, again, if you get lost, look down here at the command line, specify the insertion point. So maybe I want that just kind of over here. Draw a window to scale it. And now we have the plant photo right in our drawing with the name. And that works out really well on presentation drawings. So if you're on the conceptual level or schematic design development stage, obviously that's when you want to show off your plants. When you're in documentation, then it's a little different. But that is a very useful tool. It ties right into Google. Again, I'll show you how that works. Click on the plant photo callout. These are our Japanese maples, I believe. Select that. It's going to bring up Google Images. And maybe that one. Select View Image. Again, it gives you the options, shows you where the photo is found, and the plant name. And I like the drop shadow. Place it. And I didn't do a very good job of doing my label last time, so I wanted to show you that I could do it right. All right, so there we go. You have the plant image, the name, and you can also do that from Paperspace, which is really handy as well. So let me actually move over to. It's funny, I gave you guys an outline, and I'm totally forgetting what my outline is. I should probably have that up in a window next to me. I'm going to actually show you this guy first. All right, so this is the same plan. It's it's fully developed, and let's say we want to actually see how things are shaping up in SketchUp. So what we would do is simple. We go up to planting, go down to SketchUp Connection. And if you needed to set up your base, then you can do that through Send Layer. But we're at the step where we want to export the design. If you don't have our SketchUp plugin, just a little plug for it, you can click that download button and follow the instructions here to download it. But it brings you up brings up our SketchUp page. So I want to go ahead and export the design. So click that. And it thought for about 2 seconds, and it said, done, you're awesome, go to SketchUp. So I'm going to go do that. Click OK. Drag over my window here. It looks like I already placed some plants. So I am going to, where's my toolbar? It is right here. Sorry, I'm using 2 monitors here. Let's throw it up there. So I'm going to click the SketchUp Connection Import Design button. And the dialog box will come up that will allow you to select your plant models. You'll see that some are missing. I'm actually in the process of fixing that. If you would go into select one of those, you can go to selecting the component, and we start out with it will take you, if it's a tree, it will take you to the tree database. If it's a shrub, it will take you to the shrub, and I'll show you that. It's all categorized by conifer, deciduous, evergreen. We're looking for a lagerstromia, so it'd be under flowering and fruit. And we'll go down to that guy. All right, cool. And you can just go through and do this for all the others. And again, here's a shrub, and so it'll bring up the shrub components, starting out with the cactus and succulents, perennials, grasses, shrub, mounding, spreading, upright, tropical, and vines. So this one would be found under shrub upright. And I'm sorry, there's a little background noise there. I'm sorry about that, guys. So that was a little distracting. So you continue to go through and select all of your components or all of your models. Select import, and you see it's thinking down here. Somebody's mic is on. Can you guys mute? Thanks.
Actually, Andrew, I think you actually got muted here. So hold on just 1 second.
Oh, sorry, am I muted?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I think yeah. The Crystal's computer just suddenly was freaking out on who was muted and who wasn't. So she's just getting that squared away.
All right, cool. Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you now fine. So.
All right, great. Sorry about that, guys. So I was saying that you saw the import bar coming over, so I'm just going to run that one more time. And I'm going to click import. And you see it thinking down here. It just takes a few minutes. And since I already placed those plants, you're not going to see any change. However, say, for example, I don't like where this is placed. I want to move it over here. And I know how to use the move command. There we go. And so I'm just going to show you this really quick. I'm going to export this back into AutoCAD. It says done. You may now import your design into CAD. Cool. You can click more info if you want, but you can just click OK because you're golden. I'm going to move back over to AutoCAD, and you see that there's 2 trees here. I moved one of them in SketchUp, so I go back to our SketchUp connection, and I'm going to select the import design. It says done. All right, and voila, you see that tree? I moved it into SketchUp. Now it's moved in AutoCAD. And you can continue doing that and starting massage your design. And if you want to do anything, say move this tree over here, you can do the same thing. Go to Planting, SketchUp Connection, Export Design, and then follow the same steps. Here, I'm going to go back into SketchUp, import the design. If you've added any new trees or shrubs, they'll show up here on the list, and you can select the model, select Import, and it's thinking down here, and now that tree is moved. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so that's the just a quick overview of the SketchUp connection. I'm going to show you now, once you are ready to print, and you have your planting design done, you have all of your labels, and you are wanting to place your legends. You can do it in two places. You can go to your Project Plant Manager, and you can select Schedule here, or you can go to Project Plant Schedule, and it brings up all of your default settings. And I'll show you. I skipped over preferences, but I'll show you that in a quick second. You can set those up in your preferences as the default settings. Right now, my defaults are set as showing symbol. You can show just the code or both. I'm just going to go with symbol. I like the remarks. You have different options here of showing it in a column or below the name. For this example, I'm going to show it below the name. And I like to sort by botanical. And I always want to put the botanical name first because we are professionals, right? Hit OK. And okay, this used to take me like 2 hours to do this. And now it takes 2 seconds. You have all of your plants listed here. And this happens to be a metric drawing, so they're all in liters. And you have the plant quantities and all of the spacing information. All right, so I'm not sure if I labeled everything in my drawing. So this is a really key feature for error checking. It's called Verify Plant Labels. Select that. And it says that unlabeled plants are circled in cyan and plants labeled more than once are circled in yellow. All right, cool. So it looks like I missed a couple of these plants. Oh, more than one. Okay. And I labeled this one twice. And it actually circles the duplicate label. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And these two plants were missed, so I'm going to use just a quick label here. Right click to get out of it. So we have that, miss those two plants. I'm going to use the arc label. So you select the two and then the point in the middle. All right, and let's rerun this verify plant. All right, cool. So we don't have any more duplicates. I lost my mouse. Where did you go, mouse? There we go. All right, so the cyan circle was deleted from that. And so I feel a little bit better about that. Okay, so I actually want to add a couple more trees here. I'm going to add this guy. Just add a couple here. And I'm going to go ahead and label these. All right, so there's added to, right? Go ahead and save that. And I'm going to go back to sorry, my mouse is not going over. There we go. My plant legend. And right now, in Quercus, we have a total of 5, right? So this isn't auto. If I added plants, I still need to regenerate my schedule. So to do that, you just go to Project Plant Schedule. It's going to ask if you want to regenerate that schedule. Say yes. And I added 2 more. so it's auto corrected or auto updated. So that's going to save you a ton of time as you make changes to your design. So we learned how to verify plant labels, learned how to use the match properties button. So if we wanted to change a plant to another, we learned a couple of the copy along a line tools. We didn't look at highlight plant, and I'll show you that in a second, but we did look at plant photo callout and all the labeling options, as well as the SketchUp connection. Generated our legend, and I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I think that pretty much covers it. I did mention that I wanted to show you your plant preferences really quickly. And again, this is found from FX Admin Preferences, or if you have under each of the headings here, or pull-down menus, you have preferences under each category, and that will take you directly to that particular section. So you saw that I had the labels selected here, and that's our default. If you want to change that, if you don't like it, you have a number of options here to choose from. So if you wanted to go to more of a the style, you can easily do that. If there's one that you don't really that doesn't really match your current CAD standards, you can easily modify one of these or create your own. And we also have a couple of options of how the plant code is displayed. Always, I mean, ours is always capitalizing the genus and species. And then there's a couple options down here for allowing duplicate symbols. Sometimes that helps if you, say, for example, are using two different types of specimen trees. So, for example, or if you're using two, like say Quercus agrafolia, and one is a standard, and one you really want to be a specimen, multi-trunked or low-branched, and so you can duplicate the symbol and set one at, say, 24-inch box, and the other could be the specimen. It could be the same symbol, but it could be bigger, and it could be called, more attention could be called out to it. So it gives you some flexibility there. And you have a couple options for your arrow style for your labels. I typically like the tick mark, but you do have a variety of options here. And I mentioned the schedule defaults. This is a huge time saver. And one of the things that's really great is that if you have a suggestion or if you have any feedback or if there's a feature that you wish was available, send it to us, because we want to hear how you're using the software. We want to hear how we can reach our goal of making your workflow more efficient, because we want you to spend less time documenting, more time designing. That's really where the change is going to be. So we've really dialed in our system to save you a lot of time, but if there is a feature that you like or would like, let us know. This is actually a feature I believe that was recommended by one of our users, even setting the schedule defaults. How it used to be is I would go into my legend, and I would have to set these every single time I generate a legend. Now you can just set a default, and it will show up every time. So if you want to change the default to show both the code and the symbol, then that's cool, or just the code. However you want, you can set that and click OK, and it will update the defaults for you. So with that, I think we have about 10-15 minutes for some questions. Thanks again for joining me here. And if there aren't too many questions, then I can show you some of those resources. Again, we're here to make your workflow more efficient so you can spend less time documenting and more time dreaming.
Well, cool. Yeah. Our first question is regarding the photo call out. We had multiple people ask if they can pick a photo that they have, and so if you could show the local tab on that photo call out dialog box.
Sure. Let's see. All right, so we have there we go. And we have a local tab here. So we have internet, so it's Google. We also have a local tab. And if you do have a library of photos, then you just click browse, and then you search for it, locate your image library, and then select open, and it will do the same function as searching in the web.
And then we had a couple questions on ground cover quantities. If you could just edit any ground cover to show how that spacing applies. That the key note is if the container size ends with an at sign, it will have a spacing. If it does not end with an at sign, like sod or seed, that doesn't have a spacing, that'll just be in area, square footage or square meters. We have a pending thing. We're going to make the at sign actually go away and just have a checkbox next to spacing because more people have been basically confused by the at sign. So that will be changing fairly soon to make it a little more intuitive, but it's just good to know. At sign at the end means spacing. And then, of course, you still have the override in the schedule dialog box to specify area or quantity. But if you specify quantity, it still needs a spacing. So you can see when editing a ground cover, if you want quantity, it needs a spacing. So, yeah. See, there you go. So that one was, that's another wonderful little, you found a little error check there. It's double checking that you probably did not want them at 0.3 millimeters because that would be a ridiculously high quantity. So you probably want 3,000 millimeters or somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think this was set at 5,000. And again, it's apply to all, so that's a global change. All right, any other questions?
Definitely, let's see here. And as for the, oh, more on just those schedule options. When you go to run a schedule, there are just so many options there. Um, and for instance, the scaling of the symbols,
Exactly. Yeah. So that's
um,
the schedule is awesome and it's really flexible. So you can do it in model space or paper space, and it doesn't have to be. You would use a, for example, let's just pull it up so we can see. So uh, I don't want to necessarily regenerate this this time. I want to create a new legend. I really like there's a couple different options here. You can send it to a spreadsheet or a table view. Um, and the table view is very clean. And you saw that I changed my defaults. And remember, I changed my default to both. You can override that here. And you have a couple options here. You can select the entire palette, so every single plant that's in your palette, or just the ones that are placed in the drawing. You can also include XREFs. So if, for example, you had a drawing that included some existing trees, you could, like that were located on your base file, you could include those in the legend as well if they don't appear on your actual planting plan. So you can include those XREFs. So this, again, plant data, you can change some of the common name information here. So let me just show you the table view. Again, I think this is really clean. And it's going to generate that. This is a table view. And again, these are not at plan size. However, you can choose that. Symbols at plan size. I'm going to change that to drawing. So symbols at plan size here. And I'm just going to put this off to the right of this guy. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to scale the symbols, which is really nice, to the actual size so that you're not, sometimes this is really nice to fit on a sheet, but it's better to represent the actual plant symbol at the size so it's a little easier to read. And what it does is nice. I remember having to do this by hand, but it actually offsets the symbol for you so that it gives it appropriate spacing. Any other questions about that?
and then that was fantastic. And then we had actually a couple people questioning on scale. And so if you could kind of go back
Yeah.
to setting the scale.
Yeah. You know what? My apologies. I totally jumped over that as I dove into to all of this. So we have our project files, and this is the current. This is actually displaying the current project that we're in, and this is a scale. And so if, for example, um, you can change the scale here, and what this is going to do is it's going to display all of your text and all of your leader lines, all the graphics at all your hatch patterns at the scale that is going to be presented in paper space. So setting this is really important for how your drawings will be displayed. This drawing is in meters, so drawing units are meters. You can, if you are going to change this, for example, we can change it to, let's go 125. We can rescale the objects, and what that's going to do, we'll see here, is it's going to make all of these leader lines and all of the labels smaller. It's even going to tighten up the hatch patterns. But that's going to look really odd and it's going to make this one really huge. So what we're going to need to do is set that at the very beginning. It even made this hatch pattern really enormous. So I'm going to change that back to, I believe it was 250. I didn't select rescale objects, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me try that one more time.
Yeah, you have to set it back to what it
Yeah.
is, and then rescale.
All right, so brought it back to normal. Looks like I got a rando there, so let's move that. Okay, any other questions?
Let's see. Again, another one with the schedule is, there's that, I forget if you mentioned you can send it to a spreadsheet, send it to Excel. That is just one more schedule option. So many options in the schedule there.
Yeah.
And including, like, someone asked how to put spacing on the schedule. Well, there's that checkbox right there for spacing. And then lastly, one that I think is the best idea I've heard today, Zach here mentions that it'd be nice to add ANSI standard container sizes. I think that's a brilliant idea to even have that as an available resource download from the website.
Definitely. And Jer, I think you probably just added that to your list, right?
Sure did. Actually, I'll probably add it to your list.
Fantastic. All right, cool. All right, so while we're, I just selected the spreadsheet and it pulled up the spreadsheet here. I do want to leave some more room for more questions if there are some, but I do want to bring up some as well. A couple of the resources that I told you about. Again, this is our documentation section of the site. Go to documentation. We're actually currently working endless hours to improve the interface, so you can find the information more easily, and also updating all of the possibly outdated documentation so it's current with what we have on the site, because we are developing very quickly, and each week we have updates that we roll out, and so we need to update some of this to freshen it up. We have a couple of the getting started guides here, and in the documentation section, if you're in irrigation, this is a great getting started guide for irrigation, but the planting guide you can download here. Again, instructions on how to submit a tech support ticket. Let me show you where that's found. If you go to support, just click on that, how to submit a ticket. This is a built-in option within Land Effects in FXCAD. So if you ever have an issue, definitely use the built-in option here. You can follow the instructions. Now some plant-related resources that I think you guys would really love. One is called Plant List, and I stumbled upon Plant List, and yes, I fell in love. It's beautiful. If you love plants, if you love planting design, it's well, has great information, and the images are fantastic. So if you are looking for some other images to add to your library, this is a great resource to find them. And we can just search for, say, Hebe. It's tied in with a lot of the nursery information so that you can see availability. So Plantless Nurseries, you can see that it's available at 3 of those. And so that's really important to knowing when you're actually developing your plant palette to know that it's available. I mean, it's the worst when you come up with a really awesome plant and you find a really great plant, but it's not available anywhere. So Plantless is a great resource for that. This is actually a dynamic site, so you can view it on your iPad or tablet as well, so you can see how things shrink, right? Another one to check out, this is actually a startup out of Austin, a guy named Zach Tolbert. He's a landscape architect. He saw a need for connecting nurseries with landscape architects and contractors because that's the main issue is sourcing plants. So this is another great resource to definitely check out. This is a paid service, but it's great and it's new, but it's definitely going to change how we specify plants. So definitely check that out. A couple of let's jump over here, a fun app, Leaf Snap. I'm sure you guys have heard of this, but this is a really great little application for your iPhone or iPad. You can check it out in the App Store here. And what you do is you just take a picture of a leaf, and it tells you what it is. Developed by a couple experts on the East Coast, I believe. You can learn about that at leafsnap.com. And lastly, a couple of books. And these are two of my standbys. You know, throw Sunset out the window. Sorry, guys. If you're in California, this is a must-have book, Plant and Landscapes for Summer Dry Climates. Images are amazing and just really great information, especially if you're in California, Bay Area. And again, another California native plant book. You can tell that I practiced mostly on the West Coast. But this is written by David Frost and Carol and Bart O'Brien. David Frost is a professor at Cal Poly. He owns Native Sun Nursery, and he's a California native plant expert. This is an awesome guide for native plants in the garden. So definitely check that out. Again, if there's any other questions, feel free to contact us you can contact me directly, actually, Andrew at landeffects.com. If you have any questions, use the built-in documentation and submit a ticket and built in the FXCAD, but you can also reach us at support@landeffects.com. If there's not any other questions.
I think we got to pretty much every question. There was certainly a few that fell through the cracks here. So people, please do email us if you didn't get your question answered, or didn't get answered fully. It's all we do all day, every day. Please just send us an email, ask us a question. Not a problem with that. Other than that, have a fantastic weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.